welcome to the Autocar Show. Now, the BMW 1 Series was just launched in India amongst a lot of fanfare with Sachin Tendulkar driving the car up on stage. And I'm going to bring that to you a little later on the show. But for now, it's the car that's the star. You saw Karthik drive it earlier on and he had his opinion. But of course, a lot of things change. The Indian package is always very different. So let's take it out and see what it's all about. Viewed from the front head-on, with the detailed headlamps and the typical BMW snout, the 1 Series looks quite a stunner. It's only when you get round to the side that there's a bit of a problem with the aesthetics. The long bonnet and the upright cabin give it a gangly look, and the rear looks a little plain. Looks are a very personal opinion, but for me, it's not as sassy as the A-Class. Now, enough on the looks, let's get the car out on the road. Now, one of the best things about this car is its compact size. Beauty about it is the levels of luxury that you get. Let's say you would get in a 3 Series or a 5 Series. Get all the features, but in this lovely compact size. So, I'm nipping in and out of the traffic really easily. I'm not worried about watching the corners. It's convenient to park, and yet I have everything that I would want from a luxury car. With the large windows, the slim A-pillar and the low dashboard, visibility is good. However, if you are as short as me, you will prefer to put the seat in its highest position. The seats are extremely comfortable, and the top-level trim that I am driving currently has electrically adjustable seats and thick bolstering on the sides that make them very snug. On the inside, it's very typical BMW. It's a smart but staid interior. It doesn't have that pizzazz of, say, the A-Class in it. But the quality is all there, and there are loads of things that I really like the dials. They're crystal clear. The resolution is just so sharp, even on the infotainment system. And of course, you have the iDrive, which is really interesting. Now, all the great goodies, of course, come at a price. So let's take a look at all the variants and what they come with. The 118D uses a slightly detuned version of the 2-litre diesel and churns out a respectable 143 bhp. Will really put a smile across all driving enthusiast faces. Nice and punchy. You put your foot down and you get shoved back into your seat by this nice wave of torque. The beauty is the way that the engine revs all the way to 4,700 RPM. It's also very refined, and even when you rev it hard, it's barely audible. It's only at idle that you're able to discern that it's a diesel. Now, Karthik, when he drove the manual version, was a little worried about the lag, but I have to say that it's really not much of a problem. It reacts well to park throttle, and it does well in the city traffic. And this 8-speed ZF gearbox works really well. It's quick to shift, it's seamless, and it keeps the car in the right rev range almost always. Now, when we talk so much about performance, everyone gets a little edgy about fuel efficiency. So here's something to perk you up. Now, despite the punchy, torquey nature, this engine is also extremely fuel efficient. It comes with a stop-start feature. Stopped at a signal, put your foot on the accelerator, starts off. So, BMW claim that you can have the fun of driving, but with efficiency. We're still in the process of getting our own fuel efficiency testing done as this story goes out to you, but the company claims figures of These figures are impressive considering the kind of performance you get from both engines. And it was not only the efficiency figures that had me captivated. What's really impressive is the ride quality. I thought, it would have that hard edge because of the run flat tires, but I'm really impressed. It just absorbs the bumps and potholes and actually feels really supple over our roads.
The wonderful part was that this softly sprung feeling of ride quality had little or no consequence on the handling. The car is engineered keeping the driver in mind, and it's apparent the moment you get behind the wheel. Of course, adding to all the fun is the fact that this is the first rear-wheel drive luxury hatch around.
This is truly a driver's car, very involving, typically BMW. The steering, though light and easy for traffic conditions and parking, it still is so dead on and accurate when you're cornering. Points the car exactly where you want it to go. Balance feels good, the car hugs the corners, and you can really have some fun with this little 1 Series.
There's plenty of grip, and the wide 225/45 R17 tires keep the car planted, and roll is minimal, so you get really tempted to push around the corners. Whilst front-wheel drive cars have to put the power out and steer via the front wheels, this one splits the responsibilities. The rear transmits the power and the front steer, and that makes all the difference. Well, I was loath to leave the diesel car, and it's hard getting away from the wheel. But it was time to test the other engine on offer in India.
So we're taking the petrol for a spin now, and this is the base version. So as you can see, a lot of paring down. There's no information display, there's no iDrive, the armrest is missing, the seat cover fabric is different, and also those sporty seats with the nice bolstering on the side is not there.
The base version petrol is really quite pared down, and you miss a lot of the features, like the rear AC vents, and the one especially painful for me was the one-stop manual seat height adjust, where you have to be off the seat to move it up. It's painful. Still, if you have a budget and you don't mind missing the bells and whistles, on all other counts the car is a delight to drive. The 1.6-litre petrol that churns out 136 bhp is smooth and refined, and as far as handling goes, it's quite a thrilling drive too. Now, as much as the 1 Series is a car to be behind the wheel, here's what the backseat feels like.
Backseat not bad by small car standards. I've got enough leg room, headroom is good as well, but you sit pretty low. And of course, as you can see, this transmission tunnel is really high. The central console comes all the way back, so third passenger really has no room.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks. What do these cars cost? At these prices, you could very well be shopping around for a much larger luxury car, especially if you're going to be chauffeured around. But if you want a luxury car to drive yourself, unless you test drive one of these, you won't know what you're missing out on.
Well, if you always wanted to buy a BMW but thought that they were too big or too expensive, here's your chance to get your hands on one. The 1 Series is here and the most accessible BMW yet. Well, after having taken the diesel and petrol for a spin, here's what we think. If there's one thing to fault with the cars, it's a bit about the interiors. Staid and plain. But other than that, you can't find much wrong. The engines are fun to drive and energetic. The ride quality, surprisingly enough for BMW, is good. And that too doesn't come at the cost of handling. It's a typical BMW and really involves you. If you're a driving enthusiast, there's no doubt you're going to enjoy these cars.
Moving from the car, we get to the star of Indian cricket, Sachin Tendulkar. His views on the 1 Series, cricket, driving and more.
Sachin, I mean, we've known you to really enjoy cars and we saw the amazing amount of fun you had with this 1 Series. What did you think about the car?
Fabulous. Yeah. You know, this is such an exciting car. We spent a couple of days there in Munich in the month of July. And we had 10 other friends from India, the contest winners, who also got to attend the class which was conducted by one of the M drivers, the instructors. So, you know, you normally tend to think that you can drive very well, but when they actually get behind the steering, it's a different
Suddenly you
different
get
thing
blown away.
altogether. Yeah, and then you wonder. I mean, this car is capable of doing this,
Yeah.
and you know, it's not just about speed and acceleration and braking and all those things, because we were on a racetrack, so obviously you expect more of those things to happen. But I feel it is also to do with the comfort that this car has, and the luxury inside, and it's made for our conditions, our roads and our traffic. It is the ideal size with all the comfort.
But do you think driving is a lot? I mean, because you're a good cricketer, there's a lot of hand-eye coordination that you have to have. Do you think that it helps you in driving, because that's also something you required in driving, and you feel that there's a parallel between the two?
I think yes. I mean, hand and eye coordination has to be there, but also about anticipation, and peripheral awareness has to be there.
So that's a lot like cricket as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm batting, and then I know roughly, I mean, where the point fielder is and where the square leg fielder is. So even though I can't see them directly.
And the
but
anticipation of what's coming at you also.
yeah, I mean, all those things are part and parcel of any sport, and then driving is no different. I'd like to believe that it's about hand and eye coordination, and also your footwork has to be right. Without that, not much can happen. But the couple of days we spent at the circuit was really fascinating, because it gave a new meaning to driving. The guys were really fantastic.
Thanks so much for being in conversation with us, Sachin. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.